Hello Resident Evil fans, Superlerf here. And since it's the 20th anniversary of Resident Evil, I thought it'd be a good idea to show off my collection, despite it being very small in comparison to some of the other, what people may have. Other people have things like hats and t-shirts, posters, figurines, and all that stuff can be very pricey and high maintenance, such as dusting it, and I don't have time for that, so we're going to start off with Resident Evil 0 for the GameCube. I really like the PAL version's cover art in comparison to the NTSC cover art. And it says, discover the root of all evil. And the thing is, you play as Rebecca Chambers and Billy Cohen. There's Billy. There's Rebecca. And basically, cop and criminal must work together because Dr. James Marcus made a big mess of things. Got quite a bad case of revenge-itis and infected the whole training facility with the T-virus and the Ecliptic Express, which is the train that transports all the future Umbrella employees to the training center. And next in the series, we have Resident Evil Deadly Silence, which is a port of the PlayStation 1 game, plus a rebirth mode, which is the fear is close enough to touch, which is very true because you use the touch screen to fight enemies and solve some new puzzles. And you play as Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine, two STARS members, as they go and investigate the Spencer Mansion and investigate all these macabre monsters that have been causing all the murders that have been happening around the surrounding area, the Arklay Mountains. And then next in the series, we have my favorite of the classic Resident Evils, Resident Evil 2. And you play as Leon S. Kennedy. It's his first day on the job as a Raccoon City police officer. And you take care of Claire Redfield as well, who's looking for her brother Chris. And they also encounter some pretty nasty enemies. Not only you got the IVs, you got the liquors. Probably like my favorite of the classic Resident Evil. And the discs, I forgot to, they crammed it all into one disc. Pretty amazing stuff. Because they had to put it onto two discs because that was they remade the game. It looks amazing. You must play it. Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. That lovely little face of his. And you're playing as Jill Valentine as she escapes from the city. This is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. And yeah, that's what you have to do. Escape from the city while being constantly stalked by yours truly there. Give you a nice look at that adorable little face. Next in the game series, we have Resident Evil Code Veronica X, the hardest Resident Evil game ever. I'll tell you why I thought it was the hardest. This was actually my first Resident Evil game. There's that painting puzzle you have to do to get a key item in order to progress. And when I had this, we were still on dial-up, and dial-up was pretty frickin' expensive. So I had to wait till my mom went to the store or something so I could sneak online and get the solution to the puzzle. And I did that, and I was able to progress through the game, and this pretty much completes the classic era of Resident Evil. We're moving on to what I call the PlayStation 2 spin-off era. And during that era, this was the only Resident Evil main game that came out. And then pretty much, since I don't own a PS2, I don't own any of the spin-off games, such as the Outbreak File 1 and 2, Dead Aim, Gun Survivor 2. And I was able to pick this up. You play as Leon S. Kennedy again. You're tasked with finding the president's daughter who has mysteriously gone missing. And this time there are no zombies. I mean, you're taking the peanut butter and jelly out of Resident Evil, but no, you got these more intelligent creatures called the Los Illuminados and there's Los Plagas, which is replaced the T-virus, and I also have the GameCube version, so I have the GameCube series complete. But this is probably my favorite game because it's the only main game throughout this era. We then have, moving on to the current generation Resident Evil games. And here we have a very sentimental Resident Evil game, Resident Evil Revelations for the 3DS, because this is the first Resident Evil game I got on launch. And then I've also got the console version, because it's been tweaked a bit. They've even added in a new monster called the Wall Blister. I wanted to see that. And I don't know if you remember, in the 3DS version there were these welding puzzles you had to do later in the game. They did away with that. Raid mode's been tweaked. You have to find these gear things that give you bonus points. And that's why I got the console version and 3DS. You can see they got different cover art, along with Resident Evil 4 for the Wii version. And here I'd show you the disc. Keep forgetting to do that. There we go. Next in the series we have Resident Evil 5. You get to play as Chris and Sheva Olimar. And again, I love how there are things I like about this game, and there are things I don't like about this game. One of the things I do like is how similar it is to Resident Evil 4. Again, you got Las Plagas, you got this impoverished community in Africa somewhere. But the one thing I absolutely hate about this game, it's what people do when they do Let's Plays of this game, is that come on thing that people do, and they just keep mashing that and spamming it, and Chris keeps going, come on, come on, come on. Geez, I'm glad they did away with that in future games here. But you do get all of the DLC that was not available on the standard edition. But it's not bad by all that means, but it's just, I just hate that come on thing they did. Next, my favorite game in the current generation, Resident Evil Revelations 2. This time you play as Claire Redfield and Moira Burton. So it's nice to see that Barry's back in this game because we haven't seen him since the first game. And, oh yeah, he moved away. After the mansion incident, he took his family and moved away, hopefully to start anew, but no, her daughter goes missing. Claire finds her on this remote island somewhere, and then Barry also comes finding her, and it's like a 6-month gap between the two stories of the game. And lastly, of the main series, we have Resident Evil 6. And again, it wasn't as bad as people say, in my opinion, but it's not the best. I actually prefer Revelations 2 to that one. But it's amazing how Leon and Ada Wong, you bump into Ada Wong, how their destinies are forever intertwined. I just love how I haven't played through the other ones yet. I haven't finished it properly yet. So still lots to do. Then here is my only spin-off title, Resident Evil The Mercenaries 3D for the 3DS. And you go on these missions with all your favorite Resident Evil characters. And one thing I do love is that's the sledgehammer guy from Resident Evil 5 on the cover there. I think he's definitely the first boss of Resident Evil 5. And Chris is being a total badass and taking him out with a handgun. That's Sledgehammer guy. And then Resident Evil, The Umbrella Chronicles. Oh, it's probably still in my Wii, because I think I was playing it. And then, because it summarizes 0, 1, and 3, and also gives some story of Wesker, what he was, his role involved in Resident Evil 0 and 1, which is one thing I like. And it just shows you, if you want to witness the true end of Umbrella, get that game. Play it. Next up, Resident Evil, The Dark Side Chronicles. It summarizes Resident Evil 2 and Code Veronica. There's the disc. And I think I forgot to show you like 5. There you go. Get a nice look at that. I notice a lot of people show you there what the discs look like. Revelations 2. And 6. And we'll show you these cartridges as well. Rather bland looking, if it's just plain black with the name of the game on it. Again, they pretty, nothing too spectacular. But one thing I also forgot to mention in here is you also very heavily influenced is Leon's role in this game. And if you've played Resident Evil 4, which is probably my top 3 favorite Resident Evil games of all, is this Jack Krauser guy. I mean, him and Leon were partners, and then Leon ended up killing Resident Evil 4, and I just wanted to know, who is this Jack Krauser? And I just wanted to know more about, it just tells you more about him. Some more backstory on Jack Krauser. So I hope you all enjoyed my video on my Resident Evil collection. And so it's a happy anniversary to Resident Evil, and I'll see you later.